What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Sam, that is Mike, and today we have a very interesting episode to break down here.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson had his much-awaited press conference. That was his first press conference since all the rumors came out and everything kind of went down. I'm sure I'm not even going to go into detail about what the rumors were. You know what the rumors were.
Yeah.
So we were, as Seahawks fans, expecting Russ to be like, guys, don't worry. I'm here. Nothing's wrong. I didn't ask for a trade. Don't worry.
We were
I love
expecting
my teammates.
we were expecting family-friendly Russ.
We were expecting like hugging, go Hawks, Russ. We got like Rambo, Russell Wilson.
We got Megan the Stallion, Russell Wilson right there. That was
the least family-friendly character.
He been listening to some Megan. I guarantee you, bro. He went savage mode.
But like
Savage
there were
mode.
some moments today that are like, what? Did he just say that? Did he just say that? Like, that's kind of what some moments were today. We're going to be going full-on breakdown of this whole press conference. There were a couple other press conferences that were pretty insignificant. I mean,
Nobody cares.
Bobby Wagner, DJ Reed, they had some interesting stuff. Bobby Wagner said that he was really one of the only Seahawks to talk to Russ, and he said that Russ was here to stay, yada, 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 you know, how it goes. So let's hop on right in, and we're going to begin with the family-friendly stuff. We're going to begin with the Coco Melon Russ, the Russ that we're all used to, the baby shark loving Russell Wilson, the one that we are expecting, where he kind of talked about. I'm just going to read some quotes here from Corbin Smith. He says, "I think it unfortunately got blown out of proportion. Kind of made it seem like it was old news. You know, even said he didn't request a trade. He then went into depth about Shane Waldron and what he likes about the offense and all that. You know, Russ is like, hey, guys, it was very little. It got blown out of proportion by the media. I'm here to stay." He then said things like, from Joe Fan's Twitter account, quote, "I hope I play my whole career here. That's my mission. That's my goal." Awesome. Everybody's like, Russ is here to stay.
Let's go.
He even said, "I did not request a trade. I've always wanted to play here." Quote, "The reality is that I'm here and I'm here to win it all."
Awesome.
And all of a sudden, Russ starts saying quotes that are like mildly unsettling. Like he out of nowhere, he just goes, "Winning is everything." Understandable, but like, you don't have to point that out in a press conference immediately after you are in some of the biggest trade rumors in recent NFL history.
Correct.
You know, but it's not like, oh, Russ is just saying he's just saying his values. You know, why can't he say his values? You know, everybody wants to state what they want. And Russ then says something strange. So Russ was consistently saying that the teams that were calling about him and were kind of inquisiting about him, and then eventually he kept getting pressed on the four teams that were rumored that he wanted to go to, that his agent reportedly put forth to the Seahawks. We're like, hey, if you're going to trade us, these are the four teams that we're going away with the no trade clause for, which were the Bears, the Cowboys, the Saints, and the Raiders. So, I know, pretty stupid.
Yeah.
But Russ, like, he kept getting grilled on this. It kept coming. They're like, Russ, it began to become apparent that they're like, Russ, you're not going to get away without answering about these four teams. What made you want to go to these four teams? And eventually, I don't think he dropped anything by name. I do not believe that he dropped like teams by name. I think that they kind of let that go. I think he just kind of like briefed over it, just kind of said, oh yeah, those teams were there, but once again, yeah.
Right.
So finally, from Greg Bell, this is his tweet, and I quote the whole tweet. Russell Wilson pressed again on the 4 teams his agent gave out he'd be okay to be traded to. Reiterates he didn't want to get traded from the Seahawks, but if it happened with, quote, tons of teams calling, there are 4 he'd be okay with going to.
Okay, that's not the most not what you want to hear.
Kind of don't want to say that. You don't really want to say that. You'd be like, hey, we just put that, man, if I were Russ, no matter how much I get grilled on it, I'm just like, hey, man.
Yeah.
It happened. It happened. We're good. We're here.
I
feel like it's weird that Russ was immediately like, hey, if I were to get traded, these are the 4 teams that I would like to go to. And
I'd love to be here. Don't get me wrong. But like, if I was going to
I were to get traded, I want to go to.
I would go to Chicago, Dallas, Las Vegas.
4 teams with offensive-minded head coaches. Some have weapons, and some also have pretty good O-lines. That's normal. That's a normal thing. That's but. And then Michael Sean Dugar, who is one of my favorites because
we love you. Man-to-man podcast.
He really puts forth the questions that nobody wants to hear. Like, he really puts those questions forward. Like the questions that especially like Pete doesn't want to hear. Like last year when the defense was terrible, he was like, Pete, why is the defense so bad?
Pete, why do we suck? Please answer my question.
You can just see the disappointment. Pete's eyes as he's sitting there. You know the angle that he always takes where he's like,
well, he just stops.
It is what it is.
It's like where like the subtitles like stops chewing gum.
But then Mike clarified for us, which made it more apparent that something doesn't seem right. Russ is essentially saying that I'm quoting, by the way, Russ is essentially saying that he and his agent gave ESPN those 4 lists of trade destinations to clear up confusion about whether he requested a trade. He did not request a trade, but if Seattle was to move him, those were the 4 he wouldn't waive his no trade clause for.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here.
That's contradictory? Like,
there's a lot to unpack here.
I'm gonna put forth 4 teams that I'd be fine going to just to clarify that I have not demanded a trade.
That's like saying this. It's like saying like to your girlfriend, be like, I would never cheat on you, but here's 4 women I would leave you for, like in a hypothetical scenario.
Kylie Jenner, Megan Fox,
Selena Gomez, right?
Natalie Portman,
Elizabeth Olsen in the Scarlet Witch outfit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are like that's like telling that to your girlfriend. You're like, okay, well, you're not leaving me, but why do you have like a list ready? You're prepped and ready to go, man.
Oh no, I'm just putting this forward to say that I would never cheat on you.
I would never
because I cannot get with these women.
Right. But if the opportunity presented itself.
If Kylie Jenner would have hit me up in my DMs, I'm accepting I'm leaving you in the dark.
Right. If, Wanda Maximoff came to my house tomorrow, I can't say that I wouldn't answer the door. You know what I mean? Right.
But it's like somebody, it's like whenever you hear that but.
Yeah, but like, oh shit.
Like if somebody were to say, like if your best friend were to say, listen, it's never okay to be racist. But under these 4 occasions, wait, calm down. Relax.
Time out.
Let's take a second.
You kind of make that face. You're like, what you about to say? Come on, spit it out. What you about to say?
So then, once again, contradictory. It's a totally contradictory statement to say, hey, I put forth 4 teams to therefore say that I'm not demanding a trade by putting 4 teams that I would welcome a trade to. But I'm doing that to show that I'm not demanding a trade.
It's a
bold strategy. It's a bold strategy.
That's a bold strategy. Yeah. It's a very bold strategy. And I don't know what the end game is. Man, I really do got Scarlet Witch on my mind. I don't know what the end game is here, but I think what he was trying to say was that he doesn't want to be traded and he wants to be a Seahawk. But if the Seahawks wanted to move on from him, he would be cool going to Chicago, Dallas, Las Vegas, or New Orleans. I think that's what it is. But the way it's framed it really, remember we talked last episode about, like, we think that we have the conspiracy that the Seahawks have a deal with Seattle Hospital to get more patients. Well, they just put a bunch of patients in the hospital with heart attacks, all right?
Yeah,
Russell
just
gave half the city a
yeah,
heart attack.
yeah,
I mean,
and
their hospital numbers are
it's
doing great right now. So I think he just framed it incorrectly, because Russell wasn't, like you said earlier, Russell Wilson's always been a stand-up guy. He's never been the villain, right? I think that this is new to him, and he tried to do damage control, but he didn't do damage control. I'm going to introduce a strategy to Russell Wilson that he's probably never done in his life. It's called lying. I didn't give 4 teams. I didn't say that.
you know,
I wouldn't leave you for Selena Gomez. Are
like
you kidding me? No.
Russ is so focused on being honest
Yeah, he's too honest, bro.
that he says the worst possible thing in this situation.
Exactly. Like, again, not condoning lying.
Because
I condone lying under these 4 circumstances.
because Russ is once again one of those guys who, like, is openly saying that he wants to play in Seattle for the rest of his career.
Right. Good.
Dose, he's saying that he did not demand a trade.
Good.
Great, awesome. Those are 2 things that you want to hear. But then when he says, but if I were to be traded this offseason or in future offseasons, it would be to the Raiders, Bears, Saints, or Cowboys.
I want to think that there's just like a PR guy, and he was like, but, and he's like, stop talking.
He's like behind the camera. Like DK's behind the camera.
Shirtless. He's like, stop.
But, man. Now we're going to get to the real beef. You thought that was beef. That was just like a taquito that you get as the appetizer.
That was
we're about to get to the full-on bean burrito, 1 pound bean burrito.
That was the French fries.
Yeah, and now we're going to get to the now we're going to get to the half-pound burger challenge.
Ooh, God.
Where
Russell Wilson, man. Breaking my heart.
Yeah. So Russell Wilson says that Joe Fan, in a tweet, said, quote, Russell Wilson said his relationship with Pete Carroll couldn't be stronger.
Cap.
Nice. You like to hear that because Russ is a famously honest man. And once again, I don't think Russ has ever told a lie in a press conference ever.
No.
Ever. No. Flat out, he's never told a lie in a press conference. So I think that he's trying to tell the truth, but also a lie.
I think he's
telling I think basically
I think it's an optimistic truth. I think it's like, yeah, we're doing great. It's like
I think Russ is saying we're cool, but I think he's lying to over exaggerate. I think he's telling the truth as in the relationship isn't broken. But I think he's lying by over exaggerating it.
Right. I would agree with that. Yes.
And now you thought that Russ lying about the relationship was the real half-pound burger challenge. Well, you just ate the half-pound burger, and they come out with a full-on 2-pound burger from behind the door in a surprise challenge.
Boom. Guy Fieri's just there. It's like, that's gangsta. And they just hand you, boom, big-ass burger on your plate.
Russell Wilson says, and I quote, you know what heals all things? Winning. Russell is therefore implying that something needs to be healed. Automatically contradicting what he just said. That's like the third contradiction that he's had in this press conference.
That's the problem, is like, if he were to just cut off what he's like, if he would have just done half of what he said for each like point, it's like, this is the best press conference I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, we're doing great. I love Pete. Our relationship is healed. I didn't want to get traded. But
walk off stage. Just leave. At that point, you leave.
And then he's like, and we're like, oh shit.
But
here it comes.
Our relationship needs to be healed. If I were to be traded, I want to go to these 4 teams.
And winning is everything. We're like, oh, damn it.
Come on, Russ.
So you know what would be really effective right here? I don't know if you watched I don't know if you've seen Comedy Central. Michael K does the anger translator for Obama, where like Obama, I feel like if Michael K was there, he'd do that thing like with his hands and he just translate what Russ says. I want to win, goddammit.
I want to get an offensive line and win the game. That's all I want.
We could really use that right about now. So I want to contact his agent, see if he's busy, because we could use an anger translator. But It's not even like an anger. It's like a very passive aggressive translator.
We were walking in the shallow end for this whole episode. We're gonna dive into the 13-foot end for this one. So
children not allowed in this side.
Russell Wilson not allowed area in the 13-foot end. but we're gonna hop on it. First off, as I said previously, Russell Wilson is therefore implying that something needs to be healed. He does not say whether that relationship is with Pete, with John, with the organization, with players, with like anyone, with the fans. That could be something.
Yeah, he just hates the 12s.
Russ could be talking about 5 different things.
Yeah,
and we don't know which one. And he's therefore implying that something of those 5 very important things, the fans, the city, the players,
the coach,
coaching, or the GM, or the organization, even just the overall organization.
Wow.
Russell Wilson is therefore implying that one of those very crucial things to a pretty successful team needs to be healed. I think we can cut off
the fans.
I think we cut off the fans. I don't think that the fans are mad at Russ.
He loves it. You see him next year, he just flipping the bird to the 12s, like in the stand.
No, I think that Russ loves the fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that the fans love Russ.
Yeah.
For more reasons.
Boom.
I don't think it's with the organization as a whole. I don't think that his relationship with the organization itself, with the actual Seahawks building, like I don't think when he walks into the Seahawks building, Russ is like, ew, I don't like it here. It's not like an Aaron Rodgers situation where like he walks into the building and he's like, man, I hate it here.
I think the big one.
I think we cross that off. I don't think it's with teammates either. Russ and DK and Tyler, and I think him and Shane are getting well together. He said that they've been talking football a lot. Awesome. Check that off the list.
They're besties, yeah, 100%.
It's either the head coach or the GM.
I think, and this is obviously, I'm not there. I'm not Russ. I'm not in the facility. It's Pete Carroll. He doesn't like Pete Carroll. I think he beefing with Pete.
Are you sure?
I am 100%. Here's the thing.
Do you remember?
Here's the thing.
When we said that when John had the rumor leaked, that was therefore confirmed by PFF, that we had gotten an offer from the Chicago Bears that was like 3 firsts, a third, and Akeem Hicks. Do you think that Russ, and apparently it was reported that John heavily considered that offer. Do you think that Russ was like hurt? Because what if Russ really does want to play for this team for the rest of his career? Do you think that Russ would be like hurt hearing that John Schneider was like, Pete, this is something we should really listen to?
No, because again, that's another contradiction to what he's saying. Because like you said, he was like, I don't want to get traded, but if I was, I would get traded to the Bears, whatever. That would, again, going back to our dating analogy, that's like me getting upset that my girlfriend tried to set me up with Selena Gomez. Would that make you upset? I don't think so. I don't think
you went behind my back like that
to set me up with a supermodel. Are you kidding? No.
Like I said that I would share you with. Are you insane?
It's such a like weird circle that's going on here. I don't think he's upset. Because
but like even like John,
I feel like that would actually be a good. I feel like that would be good because if I was a quarterback for a team and another team called and said, hey, we'll give you 3 first-round picks, and my team said no, I'm like, shit, I'm super valuable to this team. Like, they love me here. I feel like that actually is a good thing. Again, it was the Bears. It was a team that he wanted to go to. My life would have been crazy.
And I just remembered that when John Schneider got extended this offseason, Russ said that he was one of the best in the business. So therefore you can cross that off the list. But honestly, when I think about it, I think you can add back on the organization.
I think, okay, I'm gonna say this. I think it's Pete Carroll, and I think Pete Carroll's got a lot of power in the organization. So that's what it is. I'm gonna be completely honest.
I think it's Pete Carroll too.
I really don't think that Russ likes Pete Carroll. I think in the most passive-aggressive way possible, he basically just gave the giant middle finger to Pete Carroll. He talked about it during the offseason. Aaron Rodgers has been a bit more vocal about it, but I think Russell Wilson is the same way. Philosophical differences. Pete wants to run the ball. Russ wants to throw the ball. I think this year when they were throwing, Russ, let Russ cook, all that. It was great. And then they started to lose games and they were back to running the ball. I think that pissed off Russ a little bit. And I think, just the lack of a voice that Russell Wilson has, because let's be honest, I think Pete Carroll is probably the most powerful man in that building.
Realistically.
Yeah. So I think he just disagrees with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's an old school coach. I don't think that he likes Pete Carroll. And I'm not saying that Russ wants Pete Carroll to be fired, but I'm thinking he wouldn't mind if somebody else, if Eric Bieniemy, for example, was the head coach. I think he'd be totally cool with that. I don't think that he likes Pete Carroll. And that's the big issue, is the relationship between coach and quarterback. And that's honestly, you look at Tom Brady, that's why he left New England. Couldn't stand Bill Belichick after 20-something years. So I really hope that this isn't a premature ending. And I'm going to ask you this. Obviously, you know my answer. If you had to pick between Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson, who are you taking?
Russell Wilson.
I was going Pete Carroll, but whatever. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm going Russell Wilson. I think, again, I'm not calling for Pete Carroll to be fired either. But if that's what it's going to be, if Russ says, "Hey, it's me or Pete," you pick Russ. No doubt about it. You pick Russ.
Yes, and real quick, I just want to. I think that there is somewhat of a rift.
They mentioned after the Arizona game, I believe it was, or leading up to the Arizona game, the meeting room that Russell Wilson stormed out of. If Russell Wilson is storming out of a meeting room, I mean, I don't know what Pete said, but it had to be a combination of some of the worst words in the English language to get Russell Wilson to storm out of a meeting.
Yeah, Russell Wilson would honestly, realistically, Russell Wilson storming out of a meeting is probably him pushing the chair in gently and and speed walking out of the room and closing the door,
dropping a pencil on the floor and not picking it up. Everyone's like, "Oh shit! Oh my god!"
Russ is pissed.
Yeah,
Russ, you gotta calm down. You gotta calm down.
Instead of saying "Go Hawks," he's like, "Go Hawks," and just walks out. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, what is going?"
But real quick, DK Metcalf from yesterday had also a press conference. It was his first press conference of the year, just like Russ had today.
Yeah.
And DK, had a pretty average, normal press conference, a pretty just laid back, "Hey man, I'm here and I'm here to talk about how the team's doing, and I'm happy with that, and I'm happy with how the team's looking right now." And just the average normal press conference.
Yep.
Everybody likes it.
Yep.
And DK was asked a question about Russell Wilson, and I'm currently attempting to find that quote. But it went along the lines of, okay, so DK was asked about Russ, and DK therefore goes, "Hey, man, I stay out of everybody's business. I don't get involved with that stuff. I'm not going to comment on it."
I think I don't know.
I don't know.
Just DK now.
But Bobby Wagner seemed to imply today in his press conference that he was one of the few Seahawks players who maintained contact with Russ, and I do not believe that DK said that they also maintained a connection with Russ. Once again,
that kind of makes sense.
I'm trying to proof this here.
That makes sense that happened because keep in mind a couple of things. Russ and Bobby been there, done that, right? They were one of the few people left from the Super Bowl team. They're veterans. They've been teammates for 8 years.
But Russ and DK are best friends. They're
right. But DK's still young, bro. He's been in the league 2 years. I love DK. I'm not shit talking DK, but you really think from a veteran's point of view, DK's got nothing on Bobby, right? Because Bobby's been there, done that. He had his own contract dispute with the Seahawks before they signed that big deal. So I think it was more of a veteran leadership type of thing. Captains.
I can feel you there.
Captains.
I can feel you there. But it is just a very interesting situation, and I feel like the fire was dead, and then Russell Wilson came in with like a whole firework and just threw a firework on top of it,
like gasoline on it,
like a Molotov cocktail, just TNT going on, just like. All right, so to round off this episode, this very interesting episode of a very interesting press conference.
Yeah.
And second, also, by the way, the reporters were stuck waiting an hour and 10 minutes for Russ to come on. DJ Reed finished his presser. Practice is over. And the reporters are sitting waiting for an hour and 10 minutes waiting for Russell Wilson to walk up to
that's a worthy wait, though, to hear Russell Wilson say, I'd love to be a Seahawk, but if I were to
let's talk about the wait. Money on he was sitting in the locker room practicing what he was going to say for certain answers.
His agent was like, don't mention the fact that you have 4 teams you want to go to. Russ is just so honest.
And Russ passed it off like the first 2 times he was asked. And then he got asked about like a 3rd or 4th time. And he gave in. He couldn't take the pressure anymore.
Like, I'm so done with these guys. I'm just going to.
Which is true because Russ is one of the best quarterbacks under pressure in the NFL.
Maybe it's not the best. Maybe just instead of pass rushing, Aaron Donald should be like, I heard you want to get traded. Russ like, shit.
So
just drops the ball.
I'm going to ask you, Mike, do you think that this press conference we talked about how like the dueling sides and the contradictions that Russ said today. There's like an even for every odd.
Yeah.
Do you think that this press conference is more a reassurance that Russ will be here long term, or Russ under the table being like, I kind of don't like it here?
It's, again, dude, it's very weird to dissect Russell. Because, again, you mentioned it. Russell Wilson press conferences are, I love this team. I love this team, blah, blah, blah. Go Hawks. That's his press conference. And there's never any lies. There's never any, hidden messages. It's just Russ is this, and we're doing this. Good. This one, it was very much statement, counter statement. Statement. Oh, you don't want to get traded? That's great. But you would take these 14. It's like very much, oh, that's good. Oh, that's bad. So I would say it is good. I think overall this was a win because, like we said, I don't think Russell Wilson lies. He said he wants to be a Seahawk for life. If Russell Wilson says he wants to be a Seahawk for life, I truly believe Russell Wilson wants to be a Seahawk for life. Obviously, fans want him to be a Seahawk for life. I would really hope that most of the organization does. So that is a win to me. But it's kind of like this is the part in like a documentary, like where Russell Wilson leaves in 3 years. This is the part in the documentary where it's like, and this is where things all went sideways, like right there. But I think overall it was a good thing. And I do believe that the relationship is, I don't want to say repaired, but like if it was like a broken creek, they put like a Band-Aid on it. Stop the damage for now. But down the line, I think there's going to have to be some things. And another thing that Joe Fan tweeted was that Russell Wilson said that basically the takeaway was that winning in 2021 is mandatory. So if we have a bad season and if we don't win at least one playoff game this year, something like that happens, I think that we're going to see the dam break a little bit more. We're going to start seeing more Megan Thee Stallion Russell Wilson and not so much
Coco Melon
Russell Wilson. But I think for right now we're good. That's my takeaway on that.
My takeaway is that Russell Wilson is saying to Seahawks fans that I want to be a Seahawks. Listen, the way certain answers are directed at certain people. I don't think that Russ was answering for everybody. I think that he was answering for certain groups of people. When Russ said, I want to be a Seahawk for life, I want to spend the rest of my career here, I didn't want to get traded. That's Russ out front saying to the fans, I'm not going to leave you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I take away. But I think that all the negative things that Russ said were under the table heaves at John Schneider, Pete Carroll, and the Seahawks organization. I think that's how I take it. Russ saying all the positive things to the fans. I want to be a Seahawk for life. Yeah. Well, then why did all these 4 teams come up? I don't want to get traded. Well, once again, why did the 4 teams come up?
Yeah.
My relationship with Pete is stronger than ever. Well, then why do you say that winning heals things?
Right.
And what needs to be healed? It's like every other statement is contradicted to be like, hey, it's good for now, but if you mess this up one more time, this thing is wide open.
Yeah, the dam is going to break.
Yeah, like Russell Wilson is the Hoover Dam for the Seattle Seahawks. He is crucial to the existence and success of the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But if that dam cracks, everything will fall apart.
Another thing I wonder, and this is kind of my last point on why I think it was a big shot at Pete Carroll. Let's think of the teams that he requested. Chicago, Matt Nagy, offensive head coach. New Orleans, Sean Payton, offensive head coach.
One of the greatest offensive minds of all time,
John Gruden is considered an offensive head coach. I don't know what he was thinking with the Cowboys. Maybe the offensive line. Offensive line, right?
So offensive line and the weapons.
Offensive line, weapons, head coach. Head coach was kind of the common theme there. So I think it's a shot at Pete Carroll, like, hey, get an offensive guy in here. Right?
Yeah, I think
I want to go play for Sean Payton. I don't think it's necessarily I want to go play for the Saints. I want to go play for Sean Payton. I want to go play for Matt Nagy. I want to play for John Gruden. So I think that's another big shot at
the Saints are a team with Sean Payton, a fantastic offensive line.
Correct.
A all-pro wide receiver who holds the record for receptions in a season.
Correct.
A killer defense.
Yes.
And a running back who is dynamic and can make plays out of the backfield.
Right.
All of those things are things that Seattle does not have.
Yeah. So
that's kind of how we're going to wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah.
It's going to, it's.
So remember a couple videos ago, if you guys remember, we talked about who's more important, Pete Carroll or John Schneider. Total cap, John Schneider, please save us from Pete Carroll.
John, this is a video directed to you.
John Schneider,
I appreciate
look at me right in the eyes, John Schneider.
I appreciate you staying until the end, John. But it's not funny anymore.
We can't take it, bro. Not funny.
Oh man. But we're gonna leave it off there. We will not comment on this any further.
Unless like he says something like, yeah, I hate Pete Carroll. We're like, all right, now we gotta talk about it. Now we gotta talk about it a little bit more.
If you leave your thoughts on this press conference in the comments below, because this is a very divided topic.
Yeah.
Please leave your thoughts. We want to see what you think about this. Leave a like. Subscribe to the channel to guarantee that you will not miss out on content. And just to guarantee even more that you will not miss out on content, go ahead and hit that notification bell, because that notification bell guarantees that you'll get notified whenever a video drops.
Yes.
And finally, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast and listen to this, because you want to listen to this podcast wherever you go. So
right. Absolutely.
If you're on the road and you're like, hey man, I want to bump some Always Compete Seahawks podcast in my ear. Yep. You can turn on the audio version